Hey everybody! I am going to go over your assignment for the next few days. So originally in the email I sent out last night, I said it was due on Friday, but I'm totally okay if you guys turn this in on Sunday night. Just try to get it in before Monday. So this is going to be a collaborative assignment with one other person. So there's only a small component of it that's going to be collaborative, and basically you're going to have to talk to someone. So I don't care how you do that, whether you message them like a video, but basically you're going to have to pitch something with your voice, and we're going to talk about what a pitch is. So I'm going to actually just do that first. So a pitch, and you may know this, but it is something that is used in the film industry to, it's a verb, but it's also a noun. So a pitch is a presentation. So it's a basic summary of a story concept, right? That you are actually presenting to another person, usually a film executive that could produce your film. So it's really important that you learn how to actually do a pitch, but a pitch is also a noun, so it is the summary itself. So you might hear me refer to it as either, pitching, which means like presenting, or the pitch, which is like the thing that you are presenting to the film executive. So this is not going to be a long presentation or anything. Basically, you're going to be pitching your log line, that's it, to one other person. So this explains what a pitch is, and it just outlines the plot, the characters, and the major themes. Of course, good pitches are going to do way more than that. And this just illustrates that your pitch may be the one chance you have to get your story made, which means that you're thinking about these essential things. So it has to be compelling. So you have to make your listener or reader curious, excited, intrigued by the story it captures, and to do so quickly. A lot of times, professors will refer to this as the elevator speech. So anytime you're going for a job, or if you were doing something like this and like actually pitching a film idea concept, you would need to be able to explain to somebody what your main objective is within the time that it takes for like a person to ride an elevator with another person. So typically about 30 seconds. A pitch typically is a little bit longer than that, like a minute, but that should be what you're thinking, like the best delivery of information in the smallest amount of time. A movie trailer is a visual pitch that's basically designed to grab your attention and make you want to watch the film. Okay, so it has to be memorable. um, so stories often follow these like really archetypal patterns in that the pattern that we've talked about, that story arc too. So heroes struggle against long odds, a couple in love but forced apart. Like these are the basic like archetypal strategies that people use so that people identify with the struggle, right? You want your struggle and your conflict to be memorable to your audience and relatable in some ways. Um, but it also needs to feel fresh and new. So maybe a new setting, thinking about it in a different way. So dialed in. So it's not just a summary. And again, it may be the only opportunity you have to get your project made. So really well crafted, like basically like you're focused and attention to detail. You're really trying to get that pathos across with emotion, and it needs to be like very, very well planned out and organized. So again, this is the intense version. We're doing a really simple version. So let me go back to what you're gonna have to actually do. First of all, I'd love you to watch this short film, and I'm gonna actually share these exact slides with you in the assignment, because what you're going to be doing is you're just going to be taking my words here and filling in your own things. But first, I'd love you to watch The Surface, which is an 18-minute short film. It is 3 minutes longer than what your screenplay has to be. So it's a really good example of something that you could write. It is completely it's completely PG appropriate. There's no bad language. It's a little maybe frightening. There's some scary elements, so again, always be mindful of the little people in the room, but it is a totally just PG example, and I've included the log line here. With these questions, don't worry about filling these out. They're just for your information, okay, and for you to think about. But watch that first, because it's a great example of a short film, and then another time, probably this week, I'll actually assign you a different one to watch that's really funny. So this one is intense, but it's just such a great little short film. Okay, so here's the actual assignment. You're gonna have to start thinking about your own movie. So step one, pick a topic or a theme, and you actually did that in today's questions on Google Classroom. So that should be done already, but you're choosing your basic theme or topic of your screenplay. So, and the examples I use here are I'm going to use the same storyline the whole way through so that by the end of this, I give you my complete log line and all of the answers. So my example is trust your gut. Decisions you make in the moment might impact you forever. So that's my topic or theme. Okay, step two. You're going to select your genre. So what's the genre that you want to be writing in? Some examples are dramedy, or dramedy. I mean, that is definitely an example, but drama or comedy, romantic comedy, thriller, action, etc. And if you're not sure about film genres, just do a quick Google search. There's a whole bunch. So for mine, I'm going to go with thriller. All right, step three, setting. So choose the basic setting for your screenplay. Now, I put settings here because you can be a lot more free and independent and creative with your settings in a screenplay than you can be in your play, because you are not just defined by the stage. You can go anywhere in the world. So have fun with this. So I chose a small southern college town, busy main street, a cozy Frida Kahlo themed bookstore, and coffee shop called La Unibrow, or La Uni for short. So that's just like the place that I imagined my movie to be set in. Step four, who is your hero or protagonist? And you're going to describe who they are, what they do, what they want to do, and what they have to lose. So my example is Vivian is a painfully shy bookworm who works in a bookstore. She's single, 30, she's afraid of being pushed out of her comfort zone due to a terrifying accident she experienced as a child. So basically what they do, she works in a bookstore. What does she want to do? She's, I actually put this later, but she wants to help this girl that she encounters. And then what does she have to lose? Being pushed out of her comfort zone and basically reliving some childhood accidents. Okay, so step five is your inciting incident. So what calls your hero to action? What brings them out of their mundane lives and into a new adventure? So it might be one hero, it might be two. So if you're doing some kind of a romantic comedy or a romance type thing, you're almost always going to have two protagonists. In mine, I just have the one, and our inciting incident is her passing a stranger on the street. Vivian has a gut feeling that something is terribly wrong. Saying something may change history forever. So that's really like what happens in the first probably 3 pages of your screenplay is your inciting incident. All right, so who is the opponent or the antagonist? So who or what is standing in the way of your hero achieving what they want? This may be a hero versus self. So it might be their own self that's standing in the way. It might be a society type problem. So like if you think back to Monster, he was facing the justice system, and that's really society. But what's standing in their way to achieving what they want? So my example is a crime ring that runs deep through the heart of a small town, and a small and seemingly quiet town. So that's the antagonist. So she's like really fighting this whole like underground crime ring. Step 7, the stakes. So what does your hero have to lose, and what is at stake? And the higher they are, the more compelling the story. Okay, on to step 8. Step 8 is the logline itself. So now that you have all of these steps 1 through 7 written, you are ready to craft your own logline. So it should be 1 to 2 sentences, and here's mine. So Vivian's predictable lifestyle is torn apart after she gets a gut feeling that something is terribly wrong with a woman that comes to visit her bookstore. Helping her will force Vivian to confront not only the dark crime ring hidden in a small town, but also her own forgotten past. So I include, the hero and her world as we know it, also the inciting incident, also the opponent, and what's at stake. So it's important that you have a lot of those elements present in your logline. All right, step 9. Here's where the collaborative portion comes into play. So up until this point, you should really just have all of these slides filled out on your own with your own examples here. So you'll just basically erase mine and put your own in there, okay? All of these are going to be filled out with your own ideas. And then you come to this part, your log line will be here, and you come to this part, and this is where you're going to have to get in touch with one other person and pitch your log line to them. Now, the important thing is only say it 2 to 3 times, because again, in a real life situation, if you're pitching, you get one shot. But I only want you to say that log line. You're just going to read it to them 2 to 3 times. Now, they're going to have to also read theirs to you. So you'll have to read these to each other, right? So you like call another person, message another person, send a video to another person, they send it back to you. However you want to do it is fine, as long as you're reading that log line, okay? And then from there, you're going to fill out the following answers on the person that pitches to you. So like, let's say, Kelly Wilson calls me and she pitches her log line, and then I would pitch her mine. I'm going to fill out these questions about Kelly Wilson's. So I would put, who is her protagonist? So I'm going to have to basically remember from her pitch who the protagonist was, who's the opponent, what are the stakes, what is the genre, and if you were a film producer, would you fund it? Or would you send it back to development? Like, I want to know which one of those that you would do. Like, you can highlight it, you can like just write it right here, like fund it or whatever. But basically, if you have sections that you can't remember, it wasn't a memorable story, you're going to need to send it back to development, okay? And nobody's going to see this but me. So I hope that that's clear. And you guys, please feel free to reach out to me if that does not make sense, and I will be happy to explain it again. But I'm going to send you all of these slides in this assignment, and again, you're just filling in, and I have instructions here, you're just filling in every slide, and then for this final one, you're filling out these answers based on who told you your log line. You're going to put their name right there. So name of person pitching, I would put Kelly Wilson. Who was her protagonist? I don't know. It was Walt Whitman. You know, and I'm like writing out what she read to me in her log line, okay? And then she would be filling out one for me too. So she'd name a person pitching, Valerie Bohm. Who is her protagonist? Vivian. What was the opponent? A crime ring. What are the stakes? A woman's life. What was the genre? Thriller. Would you fund it or would you not fund it? Okay, so that's what you're filling out about the other person. All right, I hope you guys have a great day. Let me know if you have questions.